Hello, this is State Representative Dan Flynn, House District 2. I represent Hunt, Hopkins, and Van Zandt counties. This is part of our continuing effort to try to introduce members to the public, and we're very honored today to have two great members that we want to introduce to you and give them an opportunity to kind of tell you a little bit about what they're expecting and what they're looking forward to. We have Ron Simmons and we have Dennis Paul. And I will introduce them and let them kind of explain to you what is exciting about them. And I was telling Ron earlier, one of the things that I most remember about him last session, this is his second session, was he went to every appropriations meeting, which those are 7:30 meetings. And I was so impressed that a freshman would take that initiative and go do it. And what happened is he ended up becoming a real expert for all of us, very helpful. Ron, House District 65 and Carrollton, Texas, right. And starting your second session, you're on the business and
industry
business
and
transportation.
Yeah.
Two very important committees. Just tell us a little bit about what you're expecting to do this session, sure. And kind of what your overall thoughts are for the state of Texas.
Right. Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to be a part of this and be into House District 2. You know, I grew up in Arkansas, so anytime we go back home, we drive through your district, of course.
Spend money.
And spend money. If there's out there, we have to stop there and get gas and get something to eat. And you know, East Texas is one of the beautiful places on the earth. It really, really
Thank
is.
You.
And so, and you do a great job, Dan. You know, from people that I've talked to throughout the legislature and throughout Texas, you are truly what's defined as a public servant, and I really appreciate that about you.
Those are kind words. I appreciate
and your dear wife and how she supports it, so it's great. But I was in business for 25 years, in the financial world, in investment business and whatever. And my business got to a point where my partners really didn't need me much anymore. And so I thought, you know, Texas and America, of course, it sounds a little sappy, but it's been so good to my family and I. My mom and dad were school teachers. In fact, my dad's still a high school band director at age 79 back in Arkansas. And so just to be able to show my kids and now grandkids that part of living is giving back.
Boy, that is so great. I appreciate that. I really do. And let me get back with you, but I do want to introduce Dennis Paul. That's House District 129.
That's
and
right.
You call it Houston or Clear Lake City?
Clear Lake City. It's you know, we're home of NASA, so that's one way you could always tell. Everybody knows where NASA is, or you know where NASA is from my district. It's Southeast Harris County. We got 11 cities in it as part of my district, so it's got a very diverse type of atmosphere. But I do live in the city of Houston, which comes down to that part of it. We're a suburb of Houston.
It was always amazing to me that when I came into the legislature, they referred to us as freshmen, and all of us are accomplished business people in the business world. But here you are, a freshman. This is your freshman year. What are you hoping to accomplish here?
Well, thanks, Dan. First of all, also thanks a lot for having me a part of this, Ron, and really glad to be here with you. We got tremendous respect for you. Your name is very well known in my area as well, so as an accomplished servant. And we do want to serve. I mean, I want to echo what Ron said. The idea is to come here and serve the people of Texas. I'm an engineer, so I'm one of only 2 engineers in the House, so I think we bring a good business solution-solving, problem-solving mentality to the House. I think that's going to be a great benefit. I've run my own engineering firm for 15 years, and I've been active in Republican Party politics for 20 years, serving on our state executive committee for 8 years. And so I got a lot of good life experiences, I think, that I can bring to the House and help solve our problems. And you know, I want to echo what Ron said. I think transportation, and we want to work on that and help with the funding. We got a lot of issues. And
are you on the transportation committee?
No, I serve on pensions and insurance, and I got to say we have a great chairman of pensions. So
I paid him extra to do
that. Yeah, that's right.
You know, so that's great. I've known Dan for a number of years, and his son's a very good friend of mine in Houston. So that and insurance, and I think those are both great things for us to work on in our district as well. The windstorm and TDI and TWIA and how that's going to affect us down on the coast. So those are issues I'm going to work on.
We're excited to have you here. You both epitomize what I believe the Texas legislature has to be, and that is citizen representation. You both are accomplished businessmen, and I've noticed this about Ron, and I've also know this about you because we've known each other for a while, but you're the Ronald Reagan mold of I'm running for the next generation, not the next election.
Right.
And
That's
that's
right.
what I greatly appreciate about you. We've got a few challenges that this session is going to come in. It's a little different than some of the sessions that I've served in, where we had big holes that we had to fill, and we actually have a little bit of surplus. Our rainy day fund is strong, and so kind of tell me what's going to be your main focus,
Right.
Ron. What do you think?
Well, you know, I served during the interim on the Transportation Funding Committee, which was it was a great committee where we were able to study and look at what are the long-term options or how we should fund infrastructure. You know, we do have extra revenue, but extra revenue shouldn't be looking for an expense.
Right.
What we need to do is we need to find where the core functions of government are lacking, and in the state of Texas, because we're growing so fast, we need to make sure we have the right infrastructure, and roads is the big part of that.
Yeah.
And so what we're going to be focusing on is how do we come up with a master funding plan and a master project selection plan. It's not just putting money in roads, it's putting money in the right roads. And
So
that's what we're gonna
you're
be
believing
focusing on
that transportation is going to be a major issue, and
Yes,
I
sir.
certainly agree with you.
I believe it is.
Ron, what Dennis, what do you think?
I think so too. You know, just from my 20 years of watching what's going on in the legislature, it never seemed to have an issue like this that's so aligned. You know, that everybody is working on this with a common goal, and in fact, even the people, and we got a signal from them, you know, with the enormous support of Prop 1 at the last November's election, that the citizens of Texas saying we want to spend the money that it takes to get what we need to do for our roads and highways. In my district, State Highway 146 that runs along Galveston Bay is tremendous need of work, and hopefully, you know, we're going to get the Prop 1 money on that and get that project going. So it's going to be a #1 focus of where we want to go and spend the money there.
And it really will be, but you know, a lot of folks don't realize that there'll probably be 5,000 to 6,000 bills filed this session. Absolutely. And I think I can speak for both of you that every town hall meeting I went to, every service club that I went to in Chamber of Commerce, a big issue was border security. So we'll have to address that. And of course, the big gorilla in the room, as I call it, is the health care issue. And that's going to be a major issue that we're going to have to address. But as I said earlier, it's a little different session. We have our Economic Stabilization Fund, or the Rainy Day Fund, pretty well intact. In fact, it's larger than most states' budgets.
That's correct.
And someone at a meeting that you and I were at the other night said, well, why don't we just buy one of these other states with that? Obviously, we're not going to do that. But is that kind of what you've had to put up with? As you, I say put up, those are the questions.
Those
that
are
come
things
to you.
that I heard. I mean, all through the campaign trail, and we mentioned the transportation and the water issues too.
Yeah.
Border security and property tax relief.
Yes.
I think those are the signals that we were getting, you know, in the campaign, and those are things that we want to work on and see what we can do. And I think we have a good chance to work on that. I mean, we have a failing federal government that's not doing its job on the border, and the Texans are going to have to stand up and say we are going to do the job that it takes to do it.
Well, we were fortunate that we did have a governor that stood up and said that we were going to protect the border.
That's right.
And I'm real proud of him and that he did that. The good news is we have a new governor who has the same philosophy.
And you know, Dan, it's when if you remember how Texas was formed, is that many people from the east, would literally place signs in their yard, GTT, gone to Texas. And we were welcoming, and we're still welcoming of people coming into the state. But we have to do it in a way that protects our legal citizens.
Absolutely.
And we want more immigration done in the proper way. Unfortunately, we have a broken federal system, and until that system is fixed, we're going to have to do what we do at homes. We lock our doors at homes at night. We're going to have to lock our border and allow people to come in that are invited, not people that barge in.
Of course, you know, then the #1 issue that every session I've come down here has been public education. Yes, so it will take a lot of our time and energies. We were able to fill some of the holes last session, but you know, with the continued growth of over 1,000 folks a day moving into Texas, that increases the pupils that we're going to have in our schools. So that offers some real challenges. One of the things that I've always pushed is that I want to have a more fair funding system. That's our schools in East Texas, we feel like our students are just as valuable and necessary and needy as in the big cities. And our funding is far below that. And yet our people still want to offer the same programs that you're able to do. And so that's always one of the challenges. So as we go forward, what particular item are you going to be working on in your committee, Ron?
Well, in my committee, I'm going to be spending a lot of my time on the funding source for transportation. We've talked about motor vehicle sales tax.
Right.
Also, though, I'm going to be spending a lot of time working on the process of how do we set a master plan up like we did with water last time. Remember with water last time? We set up a priority system, and so every water project has to be scored. Something similar to that for our major highway connectors projects, because we always have more projects than we have money.
Oh, yeah.
So we need to prioritize them.
Well, and when we have money, everybody believes it's theirs.
Well, there's no
and
there's
I always
no
have to try to
it.
explain to them there's a pie.
Yeah.
And it has to go to those priorities.
Government spending is a zero-sum game.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
Yeah.
Dennis,
well, again, also too with transportation and like I said, on my committees, insurance and pensions, you know, we're going to, you know, do what we can to protect folks' pensions and take care of them, but also on the insurance side, working with Windstorm and TDI to take care of some issues there. I think there's some issues with engineering and how that works that we would like to work on to get done. On a bigger picture item too, some of the stuff we want to work on and talk to you all about, you hear more about, is a storm suppression system that we were talking about. You know, trying to have built along the Texas Gulf Coast that protect Galveston Bay from storm surge and would save billions of dollars to the federal government if we can get this done. So this stuff we want to work with the state of Texas, what we can do to help this project kind of go along. So it's one that we want to work on a local level. And just also work Ellington Field in our district. It's a major military installation that we want to keep and see, that make sure that y'all know about it and help protect it and keep those focus there in our district too. So those are some of the things: transportation, take care of the water, the flood, and insurance. And
it is the issue. You always want to protect your district.
That's
because
right.
Those are I tell young people when they come down here all the time, I have no bosses in Austin. All my bosses are at home. Amen. And I think that is our primary responsibility, is to look after the people at home. Certainly there are big statewide issues that we have to address from time to time. I think that I'm kind of excited because all of a sudden, you know, Texas is in a unique situation. I serve on the board of the National Conference of State Legislators, and I tell people all the time, when I walk in the room, they're always coming up to me from other states saying, how do y'all do it in Texas? That's just very simple. We try to have low regulation. We try to look after families and life and make it a great business climate so that we can truly have a good place to live and do business and raise your families.
Well, what happens in Texas matters, that's for sure.
It really does. We're about the 7th or 8th largest economy in the world.
Right.
So if we're not doing everything right in Texas, it's going to affect other states.
A ripple effect.
Really that's right. We're the anchor for the federal government right now, the whole United States.
Yeah.
You know, as Texas goes, we will go.
That's exactly right.
We have to go and show it's right, and we still do it right. Protect your liberty and let economics grow and raise. You know, the rising tide lifts all boats.
All right.
That's
That's true. Well, everybody back in Carrollton happy?
Well, you know, I hope so. I mean, I think what the people of Carrollton House District 65 know that. And what I promised him is I would come down here and do the work.
I always kid Ron because he has one of those districts that is, I don't know what, it's 10 square miles.
It serves 175,000 great people.
And it takes 3 counties for me to do that.
Well, you know, some of us takes a little longer to get around. So,
but it's great to represent a district, and of course you represent a district that I lived in for a long time.
A lot of friends from there.
I do have a tremendous number of friends, and from time to time we go visit, and you know, they always tell me what a great job you're doing.
I appreciate that
very
much.
Makes me feel real good that you're looking after all my buddies and friends. And Dennis, with my son living down there in the Houston area, I greatly appreciate you taking care of him. He and his family are really enjoying just living in Houston. I just want to tell you, first of all, thank you all for coming and being a part of this. And I want the public to know what a great opportunity we have in Texas. Texas is such a wonderful place to live, and this is the quality of young people that are coming in to look after our state and our government, and I greatly appreciate your willingness to serve. A lot of people think that you know, you just come down here and you only serve 140 days every 2 years, and I know Dennis, you're going to find out that what Ron found out is it is a full-time job.
It is.
Yeah,
it really
yes, I know. Right.
But I do. Once again, just want to thank you, and I
very
appreciate
much.
it. You bet.
Absolutely.
What an honor to have both of you.
Yeah,
And I look forward to serving with you.
Yeah, with you all both.
God bless, and thank you for giving us an opportunity to visit with you in your home.